Hello friends, many of you are starting your GMAT journey or you are quite advanced in your GMAT journey. So friends, this particular video will be a very small video and very useful to both the students. That is one who is starting and his or she is doubtful where do I start, and to the advanced preparation students also. So not going much, so we'll be dealing very fast and we'll be very brisk. So the friends, my answer to this question is where to start GMAT is critical reasoning. Why I'm saying this critical reasoning is for few reasons. See, start your GMAT journey with critical reasoning because just see this statement in your screen. First statement. The price of gasoline fell, yet public transportation usage increased. This will be typically a statement which you will be getting many a times in GMAT or in the GMAT Quant also, and in other sections also. So in Indian parlance or Indian context, how we say? We say gasoline as petrol, and we say petrol got cheaper, but still more people took buses and trains. That's strange. Okay. So friends, now you understand that to get acquainted with the terms which are used in USA or the GMAT exam mostly is actually we should go with critical reasoning will help you in that. And critical reasoning secondly is a actually miniature or the short form of you see the other part of the verbal section, the second section, that is the reading comprehension section. If you are good in critical reasoning, you will be good in the entire verbal, that is the reading comprehension also will be taken care of. And then I add that even the quantitative reasoning, we call it, we don't call it quantitative aptitude or maths. So what there also the critical reasoning has to be applied, or when applied you will get very much, or you will get your desired scores. So friends, now we move and understand it, what is critical reasoning is all about in a very small video. I will not take much of time. Core concepts of the critical reasoning. Structure of an argument. So most critical reasoning question will be presented an argument, oblique statement. Task is to analyze its structure. Okay. And then the question stem will be based on that. We'll understand with a question. So structure of an argument. An argument will be having a premise, a fact or a statement that supports the argument. So what happens? It will present you with a fact, that is the premise. We'll see it in a question. And then there will be a conclusion. The main claim or opinion that the argument is trying to prove. That will be the conclusion. Assumption will not be written in that particular question. It will be implicit. Means you have to understand the conclusion, assumption behind putting the conclusion, or it is an unstated belief or idea that connects the premise to the conclusion. Now you understand the structure of the argument is clear. So we'll see it more with the help of a question, with the help of an example. See, a recent survey found that 80% of the students who scored above 700 on the GMAT used online study materials. Therefore, using online study materials increases a student's chances of scoring above 700 on the GMAT. So friends, now you can judge or you can find out what is the premise. Premise will be the statement, what is being stated. A recent survey found that 80% of the students who scored above 700 on the GMAT used online studying material. So this is statement and you have to consider it to be true. Even if sometimes it may not look true to you, but you have to consider the premise to be true. What he's concluding with from the premise. So the words after therefore is somewhere here. So after that is the conclusion. What using on he's concluding that using online study material increases a student's chances of scoring above 700 on the GMAT. This is the claim the argument is trying to prove. Okay. Now what is the assumption? So assumption is not implicit. It will be not directly said. So there is no other factor such as prior preparation, coaching, that is offline coaching, or intelligence responsible for high score. This is unstated belief. So assumption is the unstated belief must be true for argument to hold. And I tell you friends, you have to get this assumption as fast as possible and as precise as possible, because this is our key. So assumption is something which is very important in critical reasoning. Now I tell you why. So the same statement is stated here, and now I tell you what type of question you will get. Why is understanding the structure important? If asked to strengthen the argument, we need to support the assumption, or we need to put forward something which supports the thing, that is the assumption, which is not explicitly told in this but implicit. So students who did not use online, what can be this? So example is students who did not use online study materials had significantly lower GMAT score on average. So this is substantiating the assumption, or it is putting more you can say weightage to the assumption. Fine. Now if we have to, sometimes we may have to, will be asked to weaken the argument. So how we can weaken the arguments is attack the assumption. That's why assumption is very important. So most students who used online materials also attended in-person coaching classes, which might have contributed to their high score. Means now the assumption that is only online study material was the factor. No, there was one more factor for a high score is being introduced. So this type of this will be, if the question is asking you what statement will weaken it or what fact will weaken it, so your answer will be something similar to this one. That is, there were one more factor, that is the coaching classes or the offline classes was responsible for the high scores. Now we see one more question, or before going to the critical reasoning, we just understand how to filter or what filters are available for us. Out of scope. Okay, friends, what happens? Something will be out of scope. Suppose the statement is talking about the efficiency. Now the option given will be talking about the budget. So efficiency is different. Budget is out of scope from when you are talking about efficiency. Give new info. Same information. Suppose the efficiency is being talked out, but it will give efficiency of some other thing, or it will say something else which is actually not, or it will introduce, gives new info, means not info that is in the statement itself or the question thing. Restates the argument, which is also an important. The given option will only restate the argument, and it will be look to you very true because it is the restatement. So it is 100% correct. So sometimes we fall for this trap. Too extreme. I tell to my students as I have been tutoring. So like some words like always, never, they are extreme words. Never go for always put a star mark that this is an extreme word. This mostly or the 90% time it is a wrong answer. So now we'll deal a question and we'll understand it. The question is in front of you. First I put this question. Okay, I read this question for you. Company's X new advertising campaign has significantly increased public awareness of its products. However, despite the campaign, sales have not increased. Some analysts conclude that the advertising campaign was not successful. Okay, now your question stem states that which of the following, if true, most seriously weakens the analyst's conclusion. What is the analyst's conclusion? Some analysts conclude that the advertising campaign was not successful. So what will weaken it? Here we have to weaken it. Okay, these are the options in front of you. Let me show you the options. Okay, you can pause my video here. Correct, check your answer, which option you are selecting. Then after that, you come and see the video for the correct answer. So now we go and deal this thing in detail. Let's go deep into the question. What is the premise one? Premise one states that campaign increased public awareness. We all agree because it was stated. Premise two is, but sales didn't increase. Okay, sales didn't increase. This is also there. Then conclusion is the analyst's conclusion, not the author's conclusion, but analyst's conclusion. Therefore, campaign was not successful. Now, what is our task? The question, what mostly seriously weaken this conclusion? That is, shows that the campaign might still be successful. Okay. Or it has brought some success to the sales, something like that. So now we'll deal with all the options and we'll dispense the wrong options and we'll select the correct option. So now see, the first option or the answer option says that the advertising campaign was more expensive than any previous campaign run by company X. Here we are not talking about the expense of the campaign. We are talking about the efficiency of the campaign for converting it to sales. So this is out of scope. Now see B option. Public awareness increased mainly among individuals who were not in the market for the company's products. Okay, B is actually a trap. Why I say? Because it just adds a reason to the conclusion of the analyst, or it is substantiating. It is not weakening the analyst conclusion. It is adding value or adding more voice to the analyst, that is the campaign was failed. Okay, but why it is a trap is because this looks to be true, or public awareness increased mainly among individuals who were not in the market for the company's product. It looks to be true, so that we can fall into this trap. Now you see C, option C. Sales of companies X product usually increase in the month after a campaign ends. So what does this say? C mostly directly attacks the conclusion, and it is saying for analysts to wait. You are judging it this too soon. So your judgment may be wrong. So it is weakening the, what you say, weakening the analyst's conclusion. Now we go to the option D and see E. So option D says other companies that ran similar campaign experienced a large increase in sale. It is a comparison analogy. This is also weakening the what you say, the analyst conclusion, but it is not weakening directly. It is not directly hitting. So we can dispense this. Now you see the option, the last option, company's X product received excellent reviews in an independent consumer magazine. Out of scope means talking about a very different thing. So option C, we will go with this. Now the right answer or the final verdict is the option C is the correct answer. It weakens the analyst's conclusion directly. B explains why it failed. So what happens? Sometimes we may fall for this trap. Now I just give a recap of this. That is, I always advise my friends to start with the critical reasoning and get acquainted with the US terminology, or the GMAT, use the terminology which are used by the GMAT. And in that you can use this filter: out of scope, gives new introduction, restates the argument, and two extremes. Now we just see the structure. So we have talked about the structure, that is the structure of the statement or this question stem. It will have a premise directly stated, it will have a conclusion directly stated, and an assumption which concludes premise and the conclusion. So that will be implicit, not explicitly stated. Okay friends, so now I put an end over here. I will come up with the new topics so that all my friends benefit and they are more GMAT prepared and they go and get their desired scores in GMAT. Thank you and good luck.